What's going on, cardboard lovers? Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 best new cards from the new set, All Will Be One. So if you're ready, let's jump into it. Now before we begin, remember that this is not opinion based and it's completely factual. Now first up we have Venerated Rot Priest, which is a creature for 1 green mana that says Toxic 1 and has whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. Now this is a very powerful card for just 1 mana. It goes well in any deck that targets its own creatures, especially in enchantment aura decks. Next up we have Scheming Aspirin, which is a creature for 1 and a black, and it says whenever you proliferate, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Now if your deck is designed to proliferate and you're in black, this card is going to do some damage. It will whittle down your opponents so quickly, and it'll also help you gain some life. Next up, we have Skyhunter Strike Force. Skyhunter Strike Force is a 3 mana creature for 2 and a white, and it says flying, and it has melee. And it says as long as you control your commander, other creatures you control have melee. Now if you have this and your commander out in the field, you'll most certainly be able to do an alpha strike on all of your opponents, and you'll most definitely become the arch nemesis. And just so everybody knows, the melee triggers stack, making these pretty good. So next up we have Technothal Inquiry Dominus. Technothal is a 4 mana creature for 2 blue, and it has flying, and it says if you would proliferate twice instead. Then it has an ability for 3 mana, remove 3 counters from among other artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers you control, put an indestructible counter on Technothal Inquiry Dominus. Now the reason this guy is so cool is because he does something that's brand new to Magic, I think. Just being able to proliferate twice instead of once can do impactful things to this game. Next up we have Norns Choirmaster. Norns Choirmaster is a 5 mana creature for 3 white, and it has flying and first strike. And it says whenever a commander you control enters the battlefield or attacks, proliferate. It turns your commander into a titan for proliferating. This card is so powerful in all counters decks. Next up we have Norns Wellspring, which is an artifact for 1 and a white. And it says whenever a creature you control dies, scry 1, and put an oil counter on Norns Wellspring. And then also has 1 and tap, remove 2 oil counters from Norns Wellspring, draw a card. Now being able to scry right after one of your creature dies can be huge to your game plan, especially if you're in a deck that is designed to sacrifice its creatures. Also, having the ability to pay 1 mana to draw a card can be huge for a white card. Next up we have Clever Concealment, which is an instant for 2 white, and it has Convoke, and it says any number of target non-land permanents you control phase out. Now this is a great card that can protect your side of the board. It's very similar to Teferi's Protection, but with the Convoke you're able to cast this essentially for free. Now it's not as powerful as Teferi's Protection, but it can be pretty good in certain situations. Then we have Squirrels Hive, which is an enchantment for 1 and a white, and it says at the beginning of your upkeep you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token, Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. It also has Corrupted. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control with Toxic have lifelink. Now this card's sick because now white has its own Bitter Blossom, which sees so much play in Commander. Being able to create tokens with Toxic can be extremely powerful, especially in a game of Commander. Then we have All Will Be One, which is an enchantment for 3 red, and it says whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be One deals that much damage to target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker an opponent controls. Essentially, this card gives you the ability to convert your counters into damage. Now red, it really doesn't play with counters as much as the other colors do, but if you combine it with the correct stuff, you can definitely dish out some damage. Now last but not least, and certainly my favorite card from the set, is Zenith Chronicler, which is an artifact creature for 2 colorless mana, and it has whenever a player casts their first multicolored spell each turn, each other player draws a card. Now most people, they play commanders with multiple colors, and this card will punish them for it. Any monocolored deck will definitely have a slot for this little guy. So those are all the cards that I thought were the most powerful in the set. Did I miss any? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, you should subscribe. Deuces!